So I'm getting a lot of questions about how the wiring is for the dash cam here in my 21 Raptor. So let's have a quick look at that. Here's the camera. The cable then is actually tucked up, literally just tucked up here. In fact, you won't be able to see it, but it's actually sticking out there. And then it runs under the headliner. You got to be careful with the headliner that you don't break it, because it's quite brittle. So anyway, so I've literally just tucked it up there. Okay, then bringing it down here, the handle here, all this section can pop off. And in order to do that, you've got to get 2 bolts underneath here, and one's about here and one's about here, which is the same as some earlier versions of the F150, but this cover is much more difficult to get off than it used to be. There is a little slot there that you've got to put a pick into, and that will enable this to lift off. And I'm not going to do it again right now because it does feel a bit delicate, but it comes off there, and then this whole thing comes off, and then you've got a couple of screws under here. Okay, when you pull this off, you've got to be careful that you've got the wiring for this tweeter, but more importantly, there is an airbag on this A-pillar here. When you put the cable here, make sure the cable goes underneath the airbag or to the side of it. Don't have it crossing the airbag, because it'd be very tempting just to run the cable and have it crossing the path of the airbag. You don't want it interfering with the airbag if the airbag is ever going to go off. So once you got the wiring down to the bottom of here, I would then sort of tucked it underneath all of this down to here. You can work it, that's down, isn't it? You can work it down through there underneath that panel, because that panel stops right there. Okay, once you got it down there, you can then get it under this piece, and that then gets you in to the fuse box, which is here in the passenger footwell. Now this fuse box cover literally just, man, I need to clean under here. This just opens up, and you can actually pop it off as well. There we go. Okay, it'll just pop off. So here is the fuse box that you want to have access to, and you need 3 points. This is the one that's permanently on. This is linked to the accessory. In other words, every time that the ignition is on, or at least the power circuits are on, your camera will be running and will be recording. But when it senses no power through that, it will shut off. This means that it is permanently connected to power. So if you're using the parking guard, the camera is always connected to power. The third cable is, for my case, is up here. I just use this bolt. This is the earth. Okay, so this is your return wire, your earth wire. This one here and this one here are adder fuses that came from Amazon. They didn't cost much, but there are so many people on Amazon selling these. I went for the ones that clearly had the most reviews, that looked genuine. That's what I did. Ultimately, this is a $90,000 truck. You don't want to be risking a fire just to save a few bucks on these connections. Okay, so those are the 2 ones that I added, and I took the fuses that came with it and piggyback those on the fuses that were already on those two points. And if you freeze a frame here, you'll be able to see which ones I used, which fuse points I used. The rest of the cable, I didn't try and cut the cable. The rest of it, you can see here, I've just zip tied up out of the way. And that's it. That's how I wired my Garmin Dashcam 67W into my F150 Gen 3 Raptor. Have a great day.